In the spring of 522 BC, Cambyses, the king of Persia, returned from his Egyptian campaign to Persia. He hastily marched towards Persia because he received a message that a rebellion had broken out and his brother Bardia had usurped the throne. However, Cambyses never reached Persia. He fell and died along the way in Syria. Bardia ruled Persia, but the Persian nobles suspected that this Bardia was an impostor. They conspired against him. One of the men who led this conspiracy was Darius, who was a spear-bearer of Cambyses and his distant cousin. Darius led the nobles in overthrowing Bardia and killed him. With the help of the other nobles, he became the king of Persia. After becoming king of Persia, he proclaimed that he had killed an impostor named Gaumata, who had usurped the throne of the Achaemenids, not the real Bardia, who was the son of Cyrus. In reality, we don't know for certain if Darius killed the real Bardia to usurp the throne of Persia. The events following his ascent to the throne showed that the influence of Bardia had not entirely faded. Darius, who called himself an Achaemenid, faced rebellions across his empire. Babylon, Elam, Assyria, Egypt, and Media rose against him. However, Darius was fortunate to have the loyalty of the nobles and the army, which allowed him to eventually crush the rebellions and establish firm rule over the Persian Empire. Darius, who wanted to authorize his rule over his vast empire, divided the Persian Empire into satrapies and appointed his loyal supporters as satraps, who were only answerable to him. This way, he confirmed himself as the sole ruler of the Persian Empire. Then he began his military campaigns to conquer the lands beyond the empire. In 516 BC, he led his armies east, conquering the land beyond Bactria, reaching Gandhara, and conquering Taxila in what is modern-day Pakistan. After wintering there, he marched to the lands surrounding the Indus River and conquered them. The Persian Empire now reached its zenith in east, extending its eastern borders to India. Then he returned to Persia, with the vast treasures from the lands he had conquered, and dedicated his victories to Ahura Mazda, the supreme deity of the Zoroastrian religion. Egyptians, Ionians, Lydians, Babylonians, Medians, Bactrians, and Indians, most of these people now belonged to the mighty Persian Empire. However, the Scythians, nomads living along the shores of the Black Sea and in Central Asia, were still a menace to the Persians. They raided the eastern provinces, including Media, and disrupted the trade routes of Lydia, Phrygia, and the Black Sea region. Darius, who did not want to see an enemy disrupting the peace in his empire, decided to strike Scythians at their homeland. In 513 BC, Darius and his army crossed the Bosphorus Strait and marched towards Eastern Europe. He even crossed the Danube River to wage war on the Scythians. The Scythian lands of Europe now faced the wrath of Darius. However, the Scythians, avoiding battles and destroying their own land, retreated into the interior. Darius, fed up with these tactics, sent a message to the Scythian ruler to confront him in battle. The Scythian ruler, still fearing the Persian army, retreated deeper into their lands. Chasing them, Darius found that there were no cities to conquer and no supplies to forage. Despite this, Darius continued his march, conquering lands until he reached the banks of the Volga River. There, he stopped the expedition and returned to Thrace. Although he lost many men to fatigue, privation, and sickness, he inflicted a heavy blow on the Scythians, who would suffer greatly and never challenge Darius again, ultimately respecting him. After conquering the Thracian lands, he reached Macedonia, whose king voluntarily submitted to him. Darius then gave command to his general Megabazus and returned to Persia. With the wealth and manpower, Darius built magnificent palaces in Susa and Persepolis, a new city, and enjoyed peaceful days. However, far away in the Aegean Sea, on an island called Naxos, an event occurred that would disturb the peace of Persia and eventually lead to the long conflict known as the Greco-Persian Wars.